I think we're live here. Is everybody ready?
Oh, yeah, always.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of ATL on Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United and all things football. And as always, I'm joined by Dave and Carmen. How y'all doing?
Good.
Very good. Yeah.
Is the team on fire?
The team.
Oh, I'm getting ahead of it. Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
look. Hey.
No. Give the
The last episode, I said there is an ember that was flickering. And it seems to have be holding after this 4-2 win against the best team in the league, Cincinnati, or one of the best teams in the league, right? So there's a lifeline. I know you're optimistic, Dave, but we're going to talk about all of that. And we did lose to Philadelphia at home.
We did.
That was disappointing.
It was.
That felt like very much the same brand of soccer. There was some interesting things happening in the Cincinnati game that give a little bit of hope, and I know you're going to talk about that. But
it was very different. Anyway, go ahead.
What are we drinking? More importantly,
we're drinking a Malbec
from
Argentina, Casa Natal. I wanted, because the team has changed, righted the ship maybe upside down. So I went with the South American wine and the upside down logo. So turning it around.
I knew you were wearing the upside down logo today.
You knew it?
Yeah, because Dave's like, we're in this cycle of change here. So I knew he was going for it.
I like it.
So, speaking of wine, thank our sponsor, Wolf Mountain Vineyards up in the Dahlonega Plateau. Awesome. Again, great time of year here in the early summer before it gets too hot.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. It's kind of getting hot here, but up in the mountains it's still cool and you can enjoy it. It's beautiful time to get up there.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, quick. How long of a drive is it from downtown Atlanta to up there?
An hour.
Yeah.
It's an easy hour drive. If you're on the north side of Atlanta, even closer, go up there and have some lunch.
They got a terrific restaurant. They have terrific wine.
And if you're just going to stay inside the perimeter, you can always go over to a Wild Heaven location.
That's right.
Avondale Estates, the West End, and now Dave's favorite spot, and Carmen too, over in Toco Hills.
That's right.
That's right.
There's some Fox Brothers
it really
barbecue
is heaven.
there.
Fox Brothers barbecue and Wild Heaven.
It really is.
It is
hard.
heaven.
It's hard to. I'm a huge fan of the Avondale Estates location, obviously.
But they don't got the Fox Brothers.
They don't have the Fox Brothers.
So
they do have a very good food truck.
No, it's the guy who used to.
No, it's different now.
Oh, really? They changed it again?
They did change it, but it's excellent. And I apologize for not remembering the new chef at the food truck at the Avondale Estates location, but we can look that up and give a shout out. Good stuff. So great place for a happy hour to start your weekend off on a Friday up there early.
Happy hours.
Yes.
So who can stay for just one?
And thanks y'all for the emergency podcast making it over here. I know, Dave, you're traveling for like the next month, right?
That's correct. I'm going to be gone.
So thanks for making it over.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
So jealous.
Dave is going to do some world travels and then come back much wiser. Maybe having had some sake and some Spanish red wine, all sorts of things.
And really going for enlightenment.
Yeah.
So I should come back exactly knowing everything there is to know about what we need.
And your prediction too is that the trajectory of Atlanta United when you return is going to be on a different vector.
Well, we do have the entire month of June. We're on the road. We don't have a single home game in the month of June, which is kind of crazy. So it is a little bit hard to imagine that we're going to get on a super roll completely on the road. But I have said from the beginning that there is going to be a turning point this season, and that by the end of this season, we will not be thinking about this team the way we are now. And I'm sticking with it.
All right. Does that matter, though? Will we make the playoffs?
Yes.
You think so?
We'll make the playoffs.
What, are we going to limp in at 6th?
Well, even if we limp in at 6, we might limp in with 6 having won, 6 in a row or 8 in a row. And then that's a different limping in at 6 than if you just limp in at 6.
So why are we limping in, Dave? Even best case scenario.
Well, we've sucked.
That's like hoping. We're hopeful that we're going to limp in.
Because we've
been
optimism.
Awful. Yeah.
We've been awful. So we're going to need to be really good to even get back to 6th.
Why are we awful?
Well, we've talked about it. That's what the last 2 podcasts are about. Let's not
I
talk about that.
know.
Let's talk
So
about
what-
what we did differently, why we're better.
Okay.
That's
Look
a
at
better thing to talk
you.
about.
So
Why are we
positive.
better?
Because
And-
we sucked before.
and we still suck in the back line, as we've talked about
Ugh.
before.
Well, okay, so the bad news. Let's start with the bad
Yeah.
news to get it out of the way, right? Abram, Williams, Guzan, the real center of the defense at the moment now with Gregerson out, they suck. I mean, they're just terrible.
Awful.
They're the worst 2 center backs and probably the worst goalkeeper in the league.
Oh,
So
whoa, really?
Brad
Yeah.
Guzan is not great.
I
Yeah.
know he's not great, but I mean, you gotta still.
well, I
put
mean, you
some
do have to go no
respect
far.
on
Like
it.
when they got back in the game, Cincinnati, they got back in the game off a corner kick. It was a long shot from nowhere, and he just fumbled it straight out of bounds.
Yeah.
And let's be
That's just
he
awful.
wasn't securing anything.
And
I
let's-
mean,
let's
you know,
be-
you can't say he gave up the goal because the corner he couldn't have stopped, but he caused it.
Well, let's also be fair. And then with 7th minute, he clunked into their guy
Right.
going up for the header. That should have been a PK.
Could have been a PK.
Not coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to punch the ball,
Yeah.
completely missed it.
Did he actually punch him in the head? Remember last
No,
time?
he-
I thought he did, and
he
then he
just
proved it
clambered.
not.
He
Clamor.
whiffed. He
Yeah.
ran into our player and their player, and clearly prevented the guy from heading the ball. But
From my seats, he missed him by a good 6 inches.
Yeah.
I could tell.
so a lot of evidence
I
that
didn't get the benefit of
Yeah.
the replay like you did.
yeah, the replay was quite clear that he bumbled it,
All right.
and that's why even the goalkeeper from the other team came down to remind him that he's old and should
Yeah.
retire.
Oh.
So the center backs and the goalkeeping, not
Shambolic,
good. But
so.
we've got one better center back coming back, Gregerson. Presumably he's not going to be dead the whole season.
Is he? Like, I mean, what,
I think
what do you know?
yeah,
I
that
think
I
he's
know.
close.
What do
I
you
think
know?
he's close to back.
I mean, I'll look it up.
And we have another goalkeeper.
yeah.
So we might be one decision away from getting over the hump, Mikey Dobbs.
You think that Dyla is strong enough to
Nope.
bench Brad Guzan?
Nope.
I don't think he is after all watching this.
Nope.
I thought he was stronger.
I don't know. That I don't know. But he should.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't even.
If nothing else, bench him for a couple of games and see what happens.
I think
Mm.
that he would have at least done that earlier in the season to change something up, to even sit Brad Guzan
Right.
to send a message.
That's what I would have
He hasn't done it.
Didn't
He's
do
not going to do it. Not a chance.
Well, if the team starts playing well and you win, like we did this game,
Okay.
and he still makes mistakes, that's when it's the easiest to bench the goalkeeper, when you're winning. Because you're just like, okay,
I'll buy that when I see it.
well, I'm not saying he's going to do it. I cannot get in Ronnie Dyla's head.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, Guzan is 40, so he's got to tweak something
Okay.
at some point. So maybe that's when it happens.
maybe the footy gods will
All right.
intervene.
So-
I'm just
well
saying.
done, Carmen.
We,
That's well spoken.
we've talked about what we've talked about, which is our defense is terrible.
Yes.
Okay. So yes,
Terrible.
we talked about that on the
Well,
previous podcast. But why is it?
Our center backs are terrible, and only one of them is terrible if Gregerson comes back.
Right.
So that's better. Our outside backs. So he's been playing a lot of Edwards. Now I know Lennon's hurt, but he's been playing a lot of Edwards, and Edwards is looking legit, and Amador is legit.
Yeah, but they played as wingers this last game, or in the 5 in the back. He played.
We didn't play 5 in the back.
Yeah, we did
No, we didn't.
against
Well-
Cincinnati. We sure did. We played
No, we
3 in
didn't.
the back.
No,
Yeah,
we
we did.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
Well,
we did.
I will say when they put it up on the screen that I was watching, they did say 5 in the back, but it was weird because they had like Saba is one of the backs. as
Dude, we
well.
had
Saba was
Williams-
you're
Williams
you're
was parked right in the
no,
center.
I take that back because Saba. Well, it was an
Abram was in the
unbalanced-
left of the back 3.
We'll go
On the
over
right was
tactical board.
Edwards, and
Yeah.
then it was Saba
Yeah,
and Amador out on the wings.
When we were in defense, Saba was playing as a wing back, and so we were playing 5 in the back on defense and 4 in the back.
Yeah,
where
I
we
mean,
were going
Saba, you're not going to rely on defense. Amador is kind of dropping back as a 4,
Well-
I'm sure, in the shift there, but it was still designed as
But that was
3 or
actually
5 in the back.
tactically very, very smart because the best player, boom, I can't pronounce his name.
Evander?
No, the center forward, Dembe. He's the danger man, right? And so we had to have somebody. He knew Dylan knows that our center backs suck because he had Edwards double teaming Dembe the entire time.
Well, one thing I did see that I've never seen.
Donkey. Denke's out. Denke.
Denke,
Sorry, I
there you go.
apologize. That's really awful. Denke. Kevin Denke.
Again, early on in the game, Edwards was out on the right, and I don't know who smoked him. I think it was Evander, somebody on the left flank there, smoked him on the sidelines.
That is correct. He got beat once really badly.
When again in Gonzalo Pineda soccer, would you ever have seen somebody burnt on the sidelines out wide?
Well, nobody's out on
No
the
one's
sidelines.
there.
No one's out wide.
Right.
So I was like, we actually he got beat.
Yeah.
He was there and he got beat. And Taylor Twellman was talking about it. He put a really good, shake and bake move on it and went down the line. But I was like, I'll take that all day long. Edwards getting actually beat trying to play defense, learning. I mean, that
was really early in the game. It was before like 10. And
I just remember
one thing that happened on that play is it exposed our center backs being absolutely clueless again. Nobody came to help.
No.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody came to help. So that's awful.
Yeah.
So, but that was about it. After that, he really shut it down, Edwards.
No.
And so
I am saying that as a good thing that he got beat, which is ironic.
Well, at least
because I was like, he was
there.
He was out on the guy, and more than likely, the guy would have had to play it back had he not actually put a really good move on him.
Yeah.
So,
so these are ifs. If he sticks with Edwards over Lennon, right? If Gregerson comes back,
okay,
right? Then already our defense is orders of magnitude better.
Yeah.
I mean, actually,
where was Lennon, by the way, in this game?
He was injured.
Hurts.
Oh, please stay injured.
Yes.
We're not wishing anyone to get injured.
Not like injured as in like bad, but
he
just
didn't wish him to be clear. He didn't wish him to be injured. He wished him to stay injured.
Yeah, just stay injured. Exactly. Not be injured.
I was the one calling for tweaks of 40-year-olds, but okay.
Yeah. Because Saba looked way better out there in the wing, at least in that
game.
So
what I think that was interesting tactically is he knew that Denke was the danger man, and he had him double teamed the whole time, and then he had Saba like out there as the extra guy. That was clever tactically.
And if he's smart, you Saba out there on the right, and then you bring Lennon in as a late sub for Saba if we're going to play three in the back. I mean,
well, we're not going to play. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to play three in the back.
What do you think?
That was literally just a counter for the fact that they have the best striker in the league.
Okay.
Denke. But that's tactically Dyla realizing that we are never gonna, with the two guys that we have in the back, we cannot stop him. So we have to change it. And he went lopsided and it worked.
Okay. So
that's good.
If my recollection is correct, the first goal came off of a set piece. Saba puts in a beautiful cross.
Miranchuk.
I think it was
Saba. Corner. On the free kick, it was Miranchuk.
It was Miranchuk. Puts in a beautiful cross, and then Williams heads it in.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
for
how
those who think that Miranchuk never delivers anything, he delivered a goal.
Go check that. I think it's Saba though.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. All right. I just watched the game though. By the way, I'm usually not sharp or confident, but I just watched the game, and you might be right though. I don't know.
Right.
You probably are.
I don't even know what happened.
Who knows? All right, come on. We're going to the replay here or what?
Oh, are we? Are we doing
I don't
replays?
know. We don't have to. Let's just keep talking. All right.
All
So
right.
then.
Which game are we even talking about? Are we doing Chicago at all?
Cincinnati,
We're doing
no.
straight Cincinnati.
Who cares about? We're trying to
It
go
was
to the
Philadelphia
positive,
anyway.
Carmen.
We covered
it was
the
Philadelphia, first of all.
Oh, it was?
And second of all,
You
we're
were at
trying to
the
go on
game.
the positive.
My bad.
You're supposed to be our insider reporter on that one.
Oh.
But you've forgotten it already.
I
That
did,
fast.
yeah.
Weren't you at the game?
I was at the game, but it was. But I was
You
like, who
tried
did
to
we play?
block
Did we
it
win?
out that
What was the
much.
score?
Carmen, give the recap of that exciting 1-0 loss against
What was your
Philadelphia.
assessment of the team when you watched them play?
That was my
Carmen just
assessment.
vomited on the floor.
They
so.
had like a 19-year-old keeper that was in for Philadelphia who instead of Blake. So I was like, we have a chance. Here we go.
Yeah.
And he played Blake-ish and made some big stops, but we looked.
You don't have to make any big stops because we didn't get any shots.
We didn't look good at all. It was not fun to watch.
We were awful.
Yeah. The food was still good.
So why is it that you believe Dial is doing something big when he clearly, I mean, Philadelphia is not, they're at the top of the table, I think.
Yes.
And I still don't think they're a very good team.
No.
And how is it that you think we're going to turn something with Gregerson comes back or whatever, and we can't even beat Philadelphia at home?
He just changed
or can't
something.
even tie?
He just changed something. We
Okay.
haven't got to it yet.
Get to it. This is a podcast, man.
I'm
We
about
got to get to the punchline.
Well, you haven't asked.
Listeners are waiting. What's
All
changed, Dave?
He changed from the stupidness double pivot to a single pivot. He let Sleaze be. He freed Sleaze.
Is that why Sleaze
He
played
played
well in this
defensive
game?
midfielder, and he freed him up. He played two guys in front of him, so we actually had outlets all the time.
So you're saying Fortune played more of the attacking?
Fortune and Miranchuk were both clearly in front of Sleaze, and Sleaze had license to go wherever he wanted. Now, it could be because of the 5 craziness in the back, but if you're listening, Dyla, stick with that. It worked.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
were so much better in midfield.
Yeah.
So much better.
I did notice Sleaze's body language was much
He was
better.
much happier.
Yeah.
We played better. Free Sleaze.
Free
Yeah.
sleeves.
He was
okay.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
a big change.
Yeah.
A big change. And then there was another change.
So when he doesn't do that the next game, he goes to double pivot again.
Oh.
What do you, I mean, this is where I think I'm curious of his big thing here. Let's make note of it, Carmen, was double pivot to single pivot, free Sleaze.
Yep.
Right.
And for Dyla, regardless of 4 in the back or 3 in the back, he still needs to do that.
Yes. Well, it's 5 in the back or 4 in the back. Yes.
Yeah.
But I would say I would go back to 4 in the back. Long term, we don't need 5 in the back. I would stick with Edwards, and I would have Sleaze as
Edwards,
the single.
Gregerson, Williams, and Amador in the
That's
back.
right.
And until we can
Cohen
upgrade
and goal.
until we can upgrade Williams with
Right.
something better.
Right. Cohen and goal. And Sleaze at the free Sleaze. And suddenly our defense will be an order of magnitude better.
Okay.
Because the other thing that happened is that, so the other thing is he clearly instructed Abram and Williams, they were still sucky, especially in the back, but they were much more aggressive
Okay.
up the field.
So also agreed. We all know that still sucky in the back, but why are we still sucky up front?
Sucky, we scored 4 goals.
Did you watch the game?
I did watch the game.
Did
was
you
at
see
the
us
game.
bumbling and fumbling at Latte Loth missing easy chances?
Yes, I did see that.
Did
but,
you see Almiron missing easy chances?
but
Did you see other people missing easy chances? I did.
I saw us
What's he gonna say?
creating a lot of high level chances, and we did something very different.
Yeah, not score.
No, we
That
scored 4
was
goals.
that
Oh,
was
we
the same old
did.
same
We scored
old.
We
4 goals.
scored.
Okay, listen, we
was-
did something else different. You want to know?
I just watched. It wasn't that different to me. Go ahead.
You know what? You know what? You know what? Dyla realized. You know what? A
Okay.
team realized. Somebody realized it was clearly, it was clearly planned. It was clearly different, and is a game changer.
All right.
All right, I'm ready.
Somebody,
I'm excited.
and I
about
don't know
this.
who it is because I'm not behind the scenes.
I'm gonna-
Somebody realized that Latte Loth is fast. And as Mikey Dobbs has been calling for a long time, we suddenly quickly started playing the ball over the top.
Long ball. Yeah.
Long ball. Well, not long ball. It was midfield quick transition. It wasn't like aimless. It was one ball into the midfield and boom, go.
Yeah. And you know what happens when you do that? You get an old Matt Miazga who's like, "Oh, should
Where
I
do you
go?
go?
Should I go? I don't know." And then he's off to a one-on-one. He
Latte
should
Loth
have finished.
freaking ran by Miles Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah.
To show you the pace.
Who's
And Miles Robinson is quick.
He's the 6th fastest sprinter, evidently, in the early MLS times at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Really?
I told you I watched the game. Taylor Twillman and those guys were saying that. I was like,
You
all
were
right,
listening.
coming informed.
Okay.
So when you do that, so first of all, Latte Loth got a breakaway. He dribbled around the goal. He hit the side netting. Okay, he ain't going to do that very much. Okay, he was composed.
Those
It
are the
just-
goals he's kind of missed.
Okay, but he's missed them because he's had like one chance and he's got to make it happen. If you start getting chance rhythm,
That's a
you
good
start
point.
scoring.
That's a good point.
And what the other thing is that happened in this game when they did that, the defenders had to back off, and suddenly Miranchuk and Almiron had space.
Well, Saba is the one that was attacking.
Saba had space
Saba is the one who was
because
creating
they
havoc.
were worried their freaking butts off about Latte Loth over the top.
But why is it that Saba hasn't been getting the starts lately? Why is that a change that Dyla decided to play with? I don't think Saba was hurt. I think he was limited.
Presumably, it's because of Lennon being hurt,
But
But anyway, he played really well because of the freedom. It was all open.
Yeah.
Once it was open, we started creating chance after chance. We had amazing chances in that game. That was not a fluke 4 goals.
We did.
the second goal that Cincinnati scored.
Yep.
the ball was in our box. It got popped up straight up in the air. It comes down to Williams' foot. And instead of just doing the right thing and clearing it, he tries to like pass it out to the outlet to Miguel Almiron and then passes it right to the other player. They pick it up and they basically score.
Yeah, he's terrible.
It was just like, what?
I just said
Like it came down like this, and you're trying to make like a delicate pass out of the back with everybody pressuring instead of just nuking that thing into the stands. That's when you play 7th grade soccer and kick that thing into the stands.
Yeah. Which goal was it?
It was the second goal.
Oh, your second one.
Yeah. You want to? Yeah, you can bring that up. Watch Williams botch that.
Defending.
The
Why
defending
bring us down. I want to ring on the good thing.
I know. Yeah, let's forget the video. Let's stay positive.
I love the positivity. I love staying positive.
But it wasn't just positivity. Like we actually scored a couple of fluke goals or whatever. It was so much better. So much better. Right? We had a freed sleaze. Right, we had actually 2 outside backs who could defend. Saba was playing in behind him, but Edwards was good. Right, we had a threat over the top, which opened up the whole midfield, and suddenly, right, Saba and Almiron and Miranchuk showed glimpses of who we thought they were going to be the whole time.
I mean, look, seeing Amador and Edwards in the back line is those two were making a huge difference. Huge difference. I would agree that Sleece looked very happy in whatever that single pivot formation that you think Dyla actually is recognizing. We'll see about that.
I don't know if he's recognizing, but he should. That I don't know.
Okay.
There still could be catastrophe down the road because we could suddenly line up. It could be tomorrow because we're playing tomorrow Orlando. It could be suddenly 4 at the back. It could be Lennon somehow miraculously getting healthy playing. Right. It could be Edwards back on the bench. It could be back to a double pivot, and you will see us go right back to suck because Orlando's good.
And so as soon as that happens, like when I go to the game tomorrow, which Carmen and I are going, we're gonna start texting you.
Well, you'll know right in the lineup.
Yeah,
you'll know. Well, you won't necessarily know whether we're truly in a double pivot versus single, but that's what you should look for right from the beginning.
What else? There was a couple moments there at the end of the game where Miranchuk took a shot, almost made it, and then went back out wide. Saba crosses it to Hernandez, who gets a head on it and puts it over the crossbar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But equally, there were moments when kind of Cincinnati kind of had the same kind of racket against us. So,
Cincinnati, I mean, Evander and Denke are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, really good. There's a reason why I picked them to win it all.
Who's the other, like he had blonde hair, dyed yellow hair?
Yeah, wasn't that Evander yesterday?
Is that Evander?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's really, really
good. Yeah, he was wreaking havoc.
He was wreaking havoc. He's the best player in the league last year.
Is he on the right side?
He's number 10. He was all over the place.
Yeah.
He was playing just a free roll. He was the best player in the league last year.
Yeah, no, Evander was excellent. Now, I was thinking of the Orleano, who's not a great player, but he still was wreaking havoc on the right side.
Evander was amazing in this game.
Yeah.
He was all over the place. He was free, and he's the best player in the league. He's Brazilian. Played for Portland last year. And Denke was the leading scorer in Belgium last year.
Okay.
He scored 25 or 27 goals in Belgium last year. He's a legit player. He's still 26. He's not over the hill. Like he would have been the most expensive signing in MLS history, except for we spent a little bit more on Almiron.
What about Latte Latte?
Latte Latte.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, he would be he's the second most expensive signing in MLS history. Okay. And they added that onto what already was their strength, which was the amazing defense. Yeah. Right? That's a very good team.
Look, I'm not down on Latte Latte. I agree. Once he gets his momentum, we're going to see him score some goals.
Yeah.
But
they had no answer for him when we were playing quick over the top. No answer. And that's the best defense in MLS.
Yeah. I think more of that. I don't know.
If we had been doing that the whole season, we would have scored like 14 on Chicago.
Is this the worst possession Atlanta United team that you've ever seen?
Ooh.
They have been terrible.
I don't think we're very good at controlling the game.
They shouldn't be.
Ever. Like, I don't see us ever controlling the game.
We can control the game.
Why is it? Carmen, I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it.
No, we haven't done it, but we could.
You think so?
Yeah, if you got Miranchuk and you've got Saba and you've got Almiron and they're playing in front of Sleece who's winning the ball back, you can keep it.
I
They
feel
don't
like-
give the ball away.
I
They
think
make me
do,
nervous.
Man.
Like
They
I
make
feel
me
like we've given up
nervous.
goals, even like with turnovers. Like
Well, because you've seen them literally trying to play out of our top of our 18. That's not where they should be. And they've been squeezed the hell out of it. There's been no space in the midfield. Yesterday, suddenly with Latte Loth going over the top, they had space
Mhm.
and suddenly they were running with the ball way better. Way better.
I'm not buying what you're selling, man. I've seen enough of our front line and our center mids without the back four involved at all. Tinker around with it at the center and lose it
Mhm.
by force of error way too many times. Even in that Cincinnati game, there was several examples.
But that's when they're playing against a set defense, trying to break it down. Like you got to get.
But there was no reason for them to lose the ball. It was just not good tactical passing and just basics. It was X's and O's types of stuff. Bad decisions.
Now the funny thing is,
which is why our possession is so bad.
So the player of the match was Fortune.
Oh, really?
He was good.
Well, everybody, you know, the Twitter people, the suckers, even knowledgeable people on Twitter, like people who run, you know, podcasts and newsletters and whatever. They're like, oh, he's the best player on our team. We should build a team around him. I say,
well, that's
no.
crazy.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
I just said, yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah,
but
I mean, this is not for y'all, but for them. That's
Somebody
stupid.
should put a straight jacket on this guy.
Yeah,
That's stupid.
Fortune is no Miranchuk.
Well, you know what? So what I wanted to explain is this. So out there, there's a lot of people out there listening, and they're like, "What? Mikey Dobbs and Dave? They're nuts, right? They keep saying Miranchuk is good, Almiron's good, Fortune's not so good.
Yeah, Fortune's good.
He's
okay.
He's right.
I'm not saying Fortune's
But they're
not
saying
so good.
that Fortune is way better than Miranchuk and Almiron is done. He's over the top. He's looked terrible, and Miranchuk should be sold, and it doesn't, you know, whatever. So you know,
slow your roll, people.
Yeah.
That's just getting it all wrong.
Well,
I can get some crap wrong, but I know a good soccer player when I see it.
Where's that even coming from, honestly?
I'm going to tell you.
Oh, geez.
I'm going to tell you where that's coming from.
Okay.
I finally figured it out. I was thinking to myself, because I was watching the Twitter reaction after the game, and it was very positive, and Fortune was the player of the game. And so everybody was like, there was a whole Fortune highlight reel put together by somebody, I don't know, the club or whatever, and it was being passed around, and people were saying, build the club around him, you know, build the statue, whatever. And I realized what the problem is.
That highlight reels even make me look good?
No. Well, that's maybe true. But that's not what I realized.
Oh, okay.
The difference, okay? If you're somebody who watches soccer and only watches the ball, you think Fortune's good. If you're somebody who watches off the ball and are seeing other things, you think Fortune is not so good. And it's because Fortune, as he showed yesterday, is good on the ball. When he got the ball, his quick one play over the top, he made a bunch of beautiful balls.
Yeah, very skilled player.
But if you notice, in almost every single one of those clips, he got the ball, he is standing, he is never moving. That's one thing. And then second thing, defensively, he is clueless. He doesn't know where to be. He's often reacting. When the ball comes into his space, even on that clips, for example, they had a couple of defensive plays, he even won the ball once, right? When the ball comes around him, he activates and he's really good. Even defensively, he can get in a tackle. He works hard. When he gets on the ball, he's good. He does not move off the ball offensively, and he does not read it defensively and move into good spaces. That's the difference.
Okay.
So all these people who are saying that Fortune, you should build a team around him, they are people who watch the ball. When you watch the ball, you could say that for sure. But if you're watching off the ball, you're like, whoa, what's he doing for us?
How old is Fortune?
He's only like 20.
He's 20.
So he could get there.
He could get there.
He could absolutely get there. But right now,
he's
not that player.
A lot of upside.
And Miranchuk, for all the criticism of him, if you watch him off the ball, he's constantly moving around into space.
What people don't see with Miranchuk is how he, like Messi, but more in a kind of neutral way, drifts into the right spots onto the field. He sees that space.
And early on in this season, they've been asking him to be a defensive, whatever, to be a part of our defensive in the midfield. And he's not that guy, right? That's never going to be the guy he is. But he's much more sophisticated about the way he moves around the field, right? Now, one thing I will say is if you're Miranchuk and you actually are watching Fortune, maybe he's not used to it because, he came from a really good league where you got to keep the ball or whatever, but he should realize, hey, just pop it over the top. They have no answer for Latte Loth.
Another positive thing I've got to say. Got some positivity, Dave. You ready for
Yeah.
it? Curious your thoughts here. I love having Jamal Tiari to come on in the last 10, 15 minutes of a game.
We said that from the beginning of the year, and I completely agree.
He's earning his check.
Yeah, he's pacey and he's strong,
and he's coming in and he cares. You can tell the guy wants to.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in the same mold as Latte Loth, so it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It's a really good.
Defenders have to just.
If you have to deal with Latte Loth the entire game, and then 10 minutes from the game you see Tiara, you're like, good God, I got to deal with that after that.
Yes, he's gonna. And if we can get that momentum going with Latte Loth and get that going, and then bring on that guy to just get it 90. I mean, Jamal Tiare should by the end of the season have the most 90-minute plus goals of any player in the MLS.
Well, I think you're going to see the reason why I think that the change is coming most of anything, even if he screws up the defense, which I hope he doesn't. I think you're going to start seeing Latte Loth just banging goals in, because one thing that is clear is that he took the time to assess it and realized that we got to get the ball early over the top. There were a number of players who were doing it. They were doing it quick, and Latte Loth was like salivating. Yeah. He was like, good, let's go. And he's been making that run the whole season, but they haven't been playing it early.
Yeah.
We've been possessing it too slow or whatever, and we just, boom, popped it over the top. And, I mean, a couple of them were just, people were like, oh, Fortune, great ball. You're like, he kind of just kicked it. But he did it early, and that's all you need with Latte Loth.
All you need is, even if it's just to create some stretch of the defense. I mean, you are going to stretch that team, and then you open up for hopefully a quick release to Almiron and Miranchuk to play it out wide to Saba. And then Latte Loth still lingering out there.
Force multiplier. That one ability to play it early is a force multiplier for our team, because suddenly everything will open.
Yeah. I still think we need to do that.
And that, I think, to me, was coached and will continue. There's zero reason why they're not going to continue to do that.
Yeah. And I like the idea of possession up in their half, which is kind of how we started off optimistically in the season. Like possession with purpose on the offensive side of the field.
Yes.
I'd like to see us get back to that. I'd rather see, even slightly less possession and more of.
You will see it if they stick with Sleeves at the single pivot, because he's really good at reading it.
All right. So.
He obviously pushed the center backs much more aggressively out. They were more aggressive on Sunday than they've been all season.
Well, like I said, I don't know. I know Abram probably played terribly, but I just watched the game, and so I didn't totally focus on him. But I did watch him make a tackle at the beginning of the game, which was like a first. I was like, he actually got up and tackled somebody. I was like,
never
seen that.
The same problem that they had. Just the marking in the box, no understanding where the danger is, no coming across and reading it. I mean, the play you were talking about very early in the game when Edwards got beat, right? I mean, Williams just he literally stayed inside like, okay, somebody has to come back and help. You're like, or you could go out and address that.
Yeah.
And he's too scared to do it. He's like, I was told to be in the center. I don't want to leave the center. And you're like, well, he's just going to run in and you're going to give him a cross from he was running diagonal into the box, and Williams was still standing there with his hands behind his back.
And on the first goal, I'm not saying it's necessarily Williams' fault, but he got wall passed, and he was just not committed one way or the other, and they just went right around him and scored right in the box. Good.
It's really bad. It's like they have zero instinct.
Zero.
Yeah.
Like none. And I don't understand at this
that
level.
The first goal they had against us was a classic wall pass to get right around Williams, and he was just
I think if anybody wants, if you want to put it on a loop, maybe we should put it on our Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Right. The clip with he starting in the we showed last podcast where he starts in midfield and runs straight back into our own goal. Yeah. I mean, if you ever showed a lack of anything imaginative positioning,
that was Abram that we're talking about.
No, that was Williams.
Okay.
It was Williams. He literally.
I'm sure we can find one of Abram.
Oh, we can find some.
Yeah, Abram's just as bad. But that was like the most. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, literally, how is that called professional defending? Like he never came over, and the guy, he didn't score, thankfully, but he had an open shot in, about the penalty spot against Guzan, and he never came over.
Yeah, I don't
You're
understand
like,
it.
like what?
Anything more to talk about in the Cincinnati game?
Well, to me, I think that the couple of changes, and I've been saying it's that slight, right? You freed Sleaze, you played the ball early over the top, you played Edwards instead of Lennon, and it's a totally different ball game against the best team in the league.
Yeah. And that is the optics too that I think a lot of casual fans don't realize. Like we did play second or best team in the league, right? Or at least in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, but I think they're the best team, even though they're in second place.
Right.
But they're the best team.
And we had much better opportunities on goal at the end of the day.
We had great opportunities.
Yeah, we bumbled them. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that will happen if you're not getting chances. But we also said early on, and we've been saying it over and over, that one difference between Dyla and Pineda is that we've got guys in the box. And, the time that Saba got to run at his defense and he put it across, I mean, again, we had 5 guys inside the 6-yard box.
And, even some of the blunders that we've had, it's because we're getting in our own way because we got 2 people to finish it.
We've sometimes hit ourselves.
Taylor Twellman was talking about it. It's like, this is the second time an Atlanta player's got in our own way to finish from the 2-yard line.
We've showed this at least twice in the
Almiron's trying to get it out of his feet.
Where it would have been scored and one of our own players defended it, would have gone to goal. So,
I know, but you keep saying statistically that's got to change.
Well, I don't think it changes just by if you have the same number of chances we have. It won't change because you'll always get that unlucky. But if you start to get more chances, it starts to open up the midfield because you're playing over the top. Then it will change because suddenly we get more chances. People are more in rhythm. They're more confident, and it will change.
All right. Yeah. Orlando tomorrow night. What's the kickoff? 7:30?
Yep.
Carmen and I are going. Carmen, what's your prediction against Orlando, who is
look good?
Orlando's the hottest team in the league.
They're the hottest team in the league.
Yeah, what we got?
Coming to
on 4th on the table.
An Atlanta side that is hopefully a little bit amped. Latte Lot could be a good thing that he didn't score and is super hyped to score.
Yes, I like it.
Did anybody check today to make sure that the league didn't stupid suspend him?
For what?
For what?
What did he do?
Well, he bumped a guy earlier.
Oh,
whatever.
Gosh.
I don't think he should have been
so
suspended.
I watched. We forgot to talk about it. Yeah. So
what's happening? I missed that.
Hilgen or
Helgen.
Helgen. I don't know how to pronounce it, but so 10 minutes into the game, the ball is being transitioned out of Atlanta United's backfield. Latte Loth and another midfielder, I think, for Cincinnati smash into each other. I watched this 7 times on replay, Dave, because even Taylor Tolman was talking about later, that was a more, because he elbowed somebody later in the game with his arm trying to, typically get in front of somebody and your elbow comes up. Hagelin. So Hagelin, and I watched, Hagelin initiated the contact with Latte Lot just as much as Latte Lot.
He stepped in to block him from running.
He stepped in to block him and slowed down, and that's what, in my mind, actually created the contact. Now, the fact that he broke 2 ribs and
had a partially
collapsed lung, it is. If you watch that replay, you're like, how is that possible?
I don't know.
I think that it must have been on the contact where when he hit, he must have hit a lower rib. But my point is 100% equally at fault was him, the Cincinnati player, because he made a direct move towards blocking Latte Loth, and Latte Loth was like, okay, game on. I'm down for this game of chicken.
Oh my god!
And it was a really casual bump at the end of the day.
He didn't really do. It
wasn't that
a partially collapsed lung and broken ribs?
He kind of slammed into him a little bit, but it wasn't horrible. Or
anything. And I liked Latte Loth's reaction to it because
you're gonna step in. Okay.
He stepped into him and he's like, okay, and I'll give you a little bump, and that's all it was. Okay. He fell to the ground like a wet paper bag and dragged him off to the hospital like me with a punctured lung, and go get your treatment.
Y'all are like, it was barely anything. And
it was barely.
All the headlines are like, he's awake and talking after
Oh
suffering
my
a
gosh.
collapsed lung. And
It is the most painful thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's horrible.
what, the broken ribs or collapsed lung or both?
Both, yeah.
Both.
Like I'm sure it's the collapsed lung. When you stop being able to breathe,
Ugh.
you're like,
That
I'm gonna
sounds-
die.
that
That's
sounds
no bueno.
It's horrible.
That sounds
It is a horrible feeling, especially when you're in the emergency room and you're screaming and there's 50 people, and they're like, "We've taken your vitals. You're gonna live." And they're like, "I don't care. Get me some drugs now."
Now, how old
Like-
were you when this happened to you?
This was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a little longer than that, but
Yeah, it was probably like 6 years ago.
Oh,
but,
gosh.
it seems like yesterday because it
Oh.
did hurt. So I feel bad, but wow, it was a weird moment for that
it
to have
was
happened.
weird.
And he got nothing on the play.
No,
Watch
the
you laugh.
referee
got
was
nothing.
the referee
well,
was,
it sounds like he
he
shouldn't
was
have.
right there looking,
Yeah.
and he was like, "No." Then they reviewed it on VAR and said, "No."
Yeah,
Oh.
and 100% I agree with
Okay.
VAR.
Okay.
but
Having
I
watched
was
it
worried
several times.
MLS was going to do an MLS-y thing and be like afterwards, "Oh, he's suspended for 3
Yeah.
games."
That is it. Yeah.
The MLS thing he would do is be like, oh, because he elbowed the guy
Yeah,
later
elbow
on in the
was
game.
too high.
They'll use that as the
Mm.
mea culpa.
Yep,
Got
Am I
it.
using that word correctly or
Yeah,
whatever
mea
phrase
culpa.
that is? Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah.
My bad.
That's
That's Latin.
Latin. Anytime I use Latin, be careful.
Look out. The podcast has gone off the rails.
Quid
Dobbs
pro
is
quo.
on. Yep, I like it. Yeah.
All right.
So you were
Orlando.
Oh, Orlando. What do I
Yeah.
got? What do I got?
You gotta start with Carmen.
Let's go. I want to say let's say we tie. That's positive in my mind. So I'm going to go 2-2.
Hottest team in the league comes to Atlanta.
To Atlanta on a Wednesday, random Wednesday.
Yep.
We'll be there.
Oh man, it must be the wine. I don't know. I'm being
Uh-oh,
optimistic.
uh-oh,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
I feel
Uh-oh.
a shellacking coming for Orlando. I feel like we're gonna win 3-1.
I have us winning 3-2.
What is happening? When did I become negative Nelly over
Yeah.
here? I love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it
hopefully
depends.
you and I can
I
enjoy
love
this prediction of at least 3 goals,
it.
It
regardless.
depends. It depends on what the lineup is. I
Yeah.
reserve the right to see the lineup, and then I could change.
Ah.
If Dyla doesn't really realize what he changed for the better
Yeah.
and goes right back to it, but even then, Mikey Dobbs, I still think we're scoring 3 goals because the first thing, if we now try to play quick over the top to Loth, we will score 3 goals a game, period.
Yeah.
We'll go back to what we said from the very
Right.
beginning. We're a
And-
3-goal game at home. 3-goal game.
And regardless of all that, I think tomorrow night we're going to bully our way against an Orlando, against a very frustrated Miguel Almiron and Latte Loth.
Mm,
Like those are guys that are really pissed right now. And
they
so
wanted on it.
if we have, I'm pretty sure we're going to have Amador and Edwards starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Brandon is
even
still hurt, presumably.
and the worst case scenario at that point is we play a double pivot instead of a single pivot.
Okay.
So that is what we're going to be looking for tomorrow night, single or double pivot. Dave, what's the giveaway for the person watching the game? You've got, let's just say, Fortune and Sleece and Miranchuk in the midfield.
Mhm.
What is within the first 5 minutes that you are going to observe, whether it's single or double pivot?
Well, you can see it often literally on the kickoff. Like if it's going to be a single pivot, they will be in front of him. You just look for the formation. I often look for the formation right on the kickoff. Now it depends on whether we're kicking off offensively, or if we're defensively, then you'll see probably whether if Sleaze is standing behind them, then it's a single pivot. But if you watch the
Do you
first
think it's
couple
that
minutes,
direct? A lot of times with Click, I felt like sometimes they were standing one in front of the other, and that wasn't so obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. But, if you watch the game for the first 5 minutes, you'll realize as soon as we're set, when they're building out of the center, you'll see, is one guy further back or not?
So Fortune over Click at this point?
I think he's going to stick with him because he had a great game.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I presume that
I don't hate that right now
Yeah,
because
I'm fine with
I am
that.
not fully bought into Click.
I think, to be honest with you, he's probably going to go with the exact same formation, because I would like to see us go back to 4 in the back, even defensively when we're off the ball, and have Saba be up the field. But I think he's going to be like, look, Orlando's really good. They're on a hot roll. And he knows, I think partly what he's realized is that Williams and Abram need Edwards standing, holding their hand. They really do.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have to be 5 in the back when we're playing defense. So he's just going to stick with the lopsided. I'm going to guess you're going to see the exact same lineup.
Okay.
And if we see the exact same lineup, I think we're going to beat Orlando.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at y'all predicting wins.
Yeah.
I like
And maybe the
this.
sleeve single pivot is
Yeah.
literally only because he's
Of the-
playing the 5 lopsided. But if it
three in the back,
is, God bless, it's working.
Anything else in MLS or the world of soccer that's worthy?
Well, what about LA Galaxy?
I don't know. Tell me about it. I haven't seen anything. What's going on?
They're awful.
Yeah,
Right?
Carmen, look at the table. Have they won a game?
What? Is Puig still out?
Well, yeah, he's out for the whole season because
Yeah.
he tore his ACL.
That was Dave's prediction.
Is
back
that who
in-
they kept showing during the game?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave's early prediction for LA Galaxy was they were going to be bad because Puig is out. And
Well, on top of knowing that Puig was basically out for most of the year, they sold the other 2 great attacking players.
Yeah.
They're 0-4-11, Mikey Dobbs. They have 0 wins.
Jeez.
Wow.
22 goal minus
Minus 20.
goal.
didn't they clear house even last year with some of the?
They brought in a whole bunch of good attacking players last year, and they won the title.
No, but I thought they got rid of like their GM and all that.
Well, they brought in
Some point
Vanny
was-
last year as the coach.
Greg Vanny.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he won the title, so that's pretty good. Like,
But yeah, they're just awful.
yes, they are.
Huh.
They are. It's the worst start I think in the modern era of MLS.
4 points.
I will say their center back was awful. I watched them
Yeah.
play in the what was it? El Tráfico. Center
Yeah,
back was
yeah.
just woeful.
And there's second year St. Louis, or second or third year for St. Louis.
Third.
Year down at the bottom.
Yeah,
Then
they had
again-
an amazing first year.
What's
and then
Atlanta,
the second year they
14th?
sucked, and then
Think
now
11.
we're up to 12.
Over 12?
We're up to 12. That's
Oh,
why MLS
man.
is so forgiving.
Oh, look at us.
The MLS is so forgiving. But even if we get the 3 points, we're still
So we are only
Chicago,
3
who's
spots
horrible.
out of a playoff. Like, come on.
Yeah.
MLS is so silly.
Now we are 7 points behind Red Bulls for the final playoff spot, but we've played 15 games. So we're 2 games yet to go to get to the halfway point. And as I kept telling you, when was I going to lose faith in Dyla? It was after we got past the halfway point, if there was still no hope.
So tomorrow
did
is
say that.
the game changer.
Tomorrow's a big game changer, but I would say the next 2 and 3, like as we go 16,
bad.
17, 18, so even if we lose tomorrow, let's say, right, if we play better, if we're attacking, maybe Orlando clips us because they get whatever, but if we stick with the formation, you see more chances and whatever, then we're going to get on a roll. And I think he's going to have the same formation, and I don't think we're going to lose tomorrow, even though Orlando's the hottest team in the MLS.
I don't think Orlando is that great either.
They're
That's the
not
thing,
that great, but they've been very high. I mean, look at their last series of games, Carmen. I mean, they've won like 6 in a row.
They've got a good coach.
They have a good coach, a really good coach. He constantly overachieves.
Yeah.
Like they don't have, in my opinion, a great team, but they constantly do well. He's in the playoffs every year, fighting for top 4 and blah, 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 blah. But look at their last series of results. I mean, they beat Charlotte, they beat Miami, they beat Portland, who's shockingly one of the better teams in the West.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
they've been winning.
So how did you guys feel about Manchester United
Well,
losing to the Spurs?
I
and the
mean,
Spurs
FA Cup
for once
final.
weren't so Spursy.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost were.
they were almost.
They were
Spursy.
pretty bad,
They're
Their
pretty
keeper
bad.
but
pretty
we're
decent.
worse.
I was so excited. It was like Kat said. We had what was it? We were about to double backdoor our way into Champions League
Yeah.
and couldn't
Not
pull it
so
off.
much.
Couldn't. Ugh, so frustrating.
What did you think about Crystal Palace?
So Carmen,
Yes.
do you think that he deserves another year in Ream?
Yeah. Give him another year.
Why?
Why not? Who else we
What?
got? Who else is out there?
Anybody?
I mean, he's awful, but I mean, the excuse they always give.
So
Give me my own
set
player.
in his ways. He just only now, maybe, but we're going to spend another year getting players for his system. He's going to finally get players for his system so that he can get to, mid-table. Then they're going to sack him. And now we're going to have to rebuild all over again
That's a
because
good
we have
point.
players for that system and no coach else is going to want to play that system.
I think for once you're wrong though. I think
You think he's good?
no, I don't. I think I don't think he's good at Manchester United, nor is any coach, and that's been pretty clear.
Mm.
I really do believe the players are all wrong at Manchester United.
They have some talent, though.
Sure, they got some talent, but it's only like two people: Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes.
And Ugarte is a baller.
You
terrific.
love some Ugarte.
Stop it.
You
Like,
love Ugarte, but I
Ugarte.
have to fight with
And
you on
Under
this
a
one now.
better coach.
Everybody else can go, dude. Like, I mean, they're not good players. Sorry.
The new left back is good. Lenny Oro's good.
No.
The new center back.
So why do we have Shaw and
Shaw's terrible.
Shaw can't.
Shaw McGuire?
stay
I was like,
healthy.
what's
Maguire's got to
happening?
go. I
Maguire's
mean, it's
terrible.
not a good team, man.
At least
It's
the one
not.
they put out
Lisandro
on Wednesday
Martinez,
was
when he's healthy, is terrific.
Not
When
a
is
good
he
team.
healthy,
I repeat, not a good team. You guys don't have the
I
players.
don't know about that.
Don't have the players.
But under a better coach, we do.
Yeah, you're dreaming.
I think we have. I'm not. I'm in the middle on this
Dreamer.
one. I'm in the middle.
Dreamer.
On this one.
A better coach has that team easily in the top 4.
The better coach has that team number 10.
Top 4.
Top 4.
Yeah.
Now they wouldn't be where they are, but top
Do I think we have the
4?
most talent in the league? No. But top 4.
What? You've gone off the rails.
Coaching is a
top 4 talent. Manchester United.
coaching
No
makes
way.
such
Carmen, back me up
difference.
here.
Yeah,
I
top
don't
4, no.
disagree, but now you've lost the
coaching
plot.
makes such
A better
difference.
coach, like you said, takes
I'm
us
talking
from
about-
like 15 to 10.
I'm talking about
Yes.
like an
But the
amazing
4
coach. I'm
Yeah.
talking about an amazing coach. Yeah, the best coach.
4.
Best coach.
I mean, Alex Ferguson had some teams that were worse than that, and he won the title with them.
Wow.
I don't know. I can't. I'm
Yeah.
like, we can't figure out who our 9 is. It was just.
I mean, there's a lot of talent in those top teams that are
We
in the.
don't have a guy who can score, although I suspect that Hoyland, they're going to sell him and he's going to go on to be a
Great
20,
player
30 goal
somewhere
scorer
else.
somewhere else. I think he's got the talent. He's just not being coached well.
Hoyland?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy is a train wreck.
He's a train
You
wreck
think?
for us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just a big physical. Like he's the guy that you're like Miguel Berry. Like he does all the hard work off the ball. That's Hoyland. But that dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn as a striker. Sorry,
I think
wrong again, Dave.
I think that's going to
That guy can't score for the life of himself.
I
mean,
think
can't for us. That's for sure.
That's for
Yeah.
that's true.
No, he's had chances. That guy cannot score.
I don't
Cannot
know.
score, Dave.
It's a Man United thing.
Even
though.
you
They
blushing
leave us,
right now, there's a little bit of truthiness in me yelling at you.
I bet, it's a crazy bet because it would take forever to figure out. We forget by the time we do it. But I bet that he goes on to be a 20-goal scorer in some major league.
Yeah, when he goes back to the Eredivisie.
Let's be honest,
Oh,
Cats.
go
You will
back
never
to-
forget.
yeah.
If you state that right now,
goes-
you will bring it
he
back.
goes
up
back-
every year.
Yeah, you're saying he goes back 4 rungs and scores 25 goals.
No,
Good for him. He couldn't handle it at the top league, dude.
Well, there's a
You're
there's
talking about different levels. He
there's-
cannot play at the elite level.
You know what's crazy? There was
cannot.
an article yesterday, something like that, in the Athletic about all the players who have failed in the Premier League and have gone on to be amazing in Serie A and in Spain in La Liga. I mean, not like terrible leagues, right? Because it's a very difficult league to conquer. It's very physical. It's very quick.
Right. It's the
You
best
know,
league in the world.
Yeah, and it's
That's
the
what
best
I'm-
league in the world.
That's
But,
what I'm judging it on. I'm judging it on the best
I
league
mean,
in
the
the
guy
world.
who's had an amazing second half of the season.
So to say that he can drop down to Serie A or Bundesliga and have sure. I don't disagree with you at all.
well, you were
Those are-
talking about
those are-
Eredivisie, but La Liga or Serie A are not.
Well, there's
Eredivisie.
3 teams in La Liga.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the Super League teams, and
But
the
still.
rest of them are just
Anyway, my point.
Serie A.
So one of
There's
the
2 or 3 teams. They're not real leagues.
One of the examples that they used in the article was the resurrection of Antony, who's been amazing in Spain. He was awful for
What team is he
for
playing
Man
for?
United.
He was horrible.
Is it
Am I looking it up?
Bilbao,
Yeah.
maybe,
He's probably playing for a mid-level La
Yeah,
Liga team.
but he's doing really well.
Yeah, because he's playing a bunch of crappy La Liga teams most of the time.
Fair.
He's
I mean,
playing
you're-
it. He's
you're
playing a
arguing
tier.
that the Premier League is way better.
It
and I
is.
think you're right.
It is way
I
better.
think you're right.
It's a total different competition in the EPL versus like league play versus any other league. Like every game matters so much. La Liga is it's El Clasico. Any of the Madrid teams play or the Barcelona. That's it. That's the only thing anybody cares about.
Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid,
Juventus,
and
AC
Barcelona.
Milan, and Inter Milan. Those
And
are the only
Napoli
teams.
won the title, so you're missing.
But no one cares. No one even knows who the starters are in Napoli
Well,
because they're not as good as the
Inter
EPL
Milan's
teams.
in the Champions League final again, second year.
Yeah.
Inzaghi.
Yeah.
And you know the funny
Top
thing
three
is,
teams are great.
the funny thing is the guy who said that people couldn't hit the side of the barn and was terrible, blah blah blah. Mick Tomé, he was the player of the year in Serie A for Napoli when they won the title. Yeah,
I always liked him.
He's
Mick
playing.
Tomé.
Yeah, he's having.
He's terrific.
He was at Man U, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you know who? It's also
But he's a solid player, very good player that was on a terrible team in Manchester United. And the team never was designed to play to his strengths, I'm sure, because they were scrambling for everything like they are still today. And yeah, when he goes to any other team in the right environment, he's going to play great.
Former Man United players who are playing in the Champions League final, Darmian, the defender, he's playing, and Mkhitaryan, you know, the Arsenal and Man United guy, he's starting for them in the Champions League final.
No, I'm just saying,
Champions League final.
All back to the point is that
and your boy
Manchester United's team is not that great.
The 19-year-old Portuguese kid who bombed at Wolves.
Who's that?
Right? I can't remember his name. But he's starting in the center midfield. He's the best player for Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final.
How's
you know, I don't know. My point being that you can't always just judge a player who doesn't fit with a particular coach in a system or whatever. Sometimes they need a change, and
I agree. But I look at the players on Manchester United playing in the best league in the world, the EPL. Maguire, even Casemiro now, who I know you like.
Well, he was great until he got old.
Hoyland. Give me some names and I'll agree with you. Like they're not starters. Hoyland is not a striker. He's not the guy who's going to put the ball in the back of the net.
He certainly has not been.
He is not a starting striker in the EPL that can give you points. How many goals has that guy had this year?
Not good. It's
not
like 3.
Lot.
Yeah, I haven't even watched.
Has anybody had any goals?
Can tell by watching.
It's been awful, but the team's
not
been
as bad
awful.
as
we
Miguel
don't
Berry.
even get up the freaking field.
Miguel Berry still playing?
Yeah, he's on the LA Galaxy.
Oh, the LA Galaxy.
Oh, we should have known.
So do we need to look up his stats or do they just speak for themselves?
No,
he's awful.
He might be the best player, though. Who knows?
See if he's got any minutes. I'm just curious. Like, humor me at the end of the night.
He comes off the bench.
Where are we? Did I give minutes? Where are we doing?
Yeah, 9 matches. Go down. You scrolled. You had it. 9 matches he's played in.
9 matches.
Two assists. Look at him.
Look at you, Miguel Berry.
Go ahead.
He hasn't scored for a striker.
He's probably the most impactful team on LA Galaxy. Then that's amazing.
I mean, my goodness.
The LA Galaxy has been woeful, like the worst, the absolute worst. So, anyway, Manchester United, in my opinion, you know, any coach who's so set in his way, I'm going to change my system, even though we suck and we're losing all the time. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What kind of coach, even if you have a system and you're set to it, whatever, what kind of coach just watches the team lose and is terrible every week and does nothing to change it?
Yeah.
I mean, and my point being that, so let's say he gets all of his amazing players and let's say he gets the perfect set of players and let's say maybe he does amazingly well, right? He could even win a Premier League at some point. Right. But then somebody's going to adjust. Somebody in his system is going to get injured or whatever. And he's going to have to make a change and he won't. And they'll suck again.
I think you fire him and fire a lot of the players.
Well,
that was more my point.
By firing the coach.
I don't think he's very good at all
at
Manchester United. I think he's a good coach. Obviously, his resume says he was.
Yeah.
But
in Portugal, one
certainly not at this level.
He's looked awful.
So
looked totally out of his depth.
So maybe he's with the players that need to go. Then he needs to go down to one of the lower.
There are these coaches, you know, when we were last year, I think when we were doing a lot of the, or 2 years or whatever it was on the podcast, doing a lot of coaching evaluation. And we talked about it. There are these coaches who know how to do one thing and one thing only. And every once in a while they get a team that fits it and they have a really good season.
Yeah. You had like 3 categories for the type of coach. I forget that.
That was one of them. And he strikes me as that kind of thing. He's a player manager. They like playing for him. When he gets the right players for that system, he could probably do pretty well. As an underdog counterattacking team, like he'd be better as a coach of, promoted side, Burnley, Leeds, would be amazing. But he is never going to consistently win league titles in the Premier League. Never.
So
Because you can't. You have got to adjust.
is a new stadium going to turn the tide?
The stadium looks like crap.
Does it?
Oh my God, it's
Is
awful.
it under
I
construction?
don't like the idea.
No, they just proposed it and it hasn't really even fully been approved yet.
It's only a model.
Only a model.
Camelot. I just watched Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail the other night.
I love
It
that.
still is fantastic.
It holds up.
It still holds up.
To be that funny is going to hold up forever and ever and ever.
If I went around saying I was an emperor just because some watery tart loved to scimitar me, they put me away. But you, king, very nice.
I've watched that movie so many times and I can't quote crap. I don't know what it is about your brain or my brain. I can never quote it. I just know it's funny.
African swallow, maybe.
He's obsessed.
So are we done with? I have a question once y'all are done.
Go ahead, hit us.
I was going to move on to the U.S. men's national team, and if we're still feeling it, because Katz was very excited, not excited, but you thought we were going to do very well once we got Pochettino.
I still think we're going to do well.
Okay, so y'all think we're still good?
Yes.
Okay,
I think all the panic over Pochettino losing a couple of games,
2 games,
and about
only lost 2 games,
and also for him being like, oh, Pulisic's not going to play in the Gold Cup and he's ruining it, missing a chance or whatever. I'm like, everybody take a freaking breath.
Okay.
Right? We're like, oh, this is the huge, most important buildup for the World Cup. And I'm like, the World Cup's still a ways away.
We have a ways, but aren't you a little scared just because of, like you were saying, that we don't have to qualify? I feel like we're not playing in games that matter.
That hurts.
And then we'll show up and just not be ready.
But at the end of the day, if you have the right system and the right players and you have 2 months to get ready, you're going to play well. It's on home soil. All he has to do is have the players playing in the right formation, the right players on the field, and in the right mindset. And, you're at home and you're suddenly, a contender.
All right. Sounds good.
I don't think this is not club football where, you have to build over 3 years. I mean, I think to win the World Cup, sometimes that's true. Sometimes you got to get a good run and get out and then have that experience and win it. But we're not talking about winning the World Cup. We're talking about the goal here ultimate goal should be semifinals.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Should be the goal.
And if we go do really, really well and get to a semifinal and get out, that could be our stepping stone to now contend maybe in the next one or,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't feel very confident in these.
Our players are really good.
Very good.
But
excellent.
But they're not good.
And the coach knows what he's doing.
Our players are really good, but can you get them to play really good? They're really good for their club teams.
Yes.
Can you get them to play well?
I think yes.
As a gritty, passionate U.S.
Well,
men's
as we
national
talk
team.
about a lot of times, there's a lot of times you take one peg out. Manchester City was a perfect example of this. They took one peg out at the beginning of the year and they fell apart, right? And it took him most of the season, Guardiola, to fix it and figure out how to play without that part. So, right now, our team, that peg that all the attacking, we have a lot of attacking talent that are, I think people are not incorrect in saying they're a little soft.
Gio Reyna missed the boat.
Yeah. Well, Gio Reyna was not eligible to play because his club's playing in the Club World Cup and they wouldn't release him. So that's a made-up controversy.
He doesn't even play.
I know, but they wouldn't release him.
And he couldn't even argue for himself to be released.
I don't know.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
I think that's my point.
Go ahead.
My point. My point was that peg of which right now everything is built around is Tyler Adams. When Tyler Adams is there knocking people and getting tackles in and giving the ball to Pulisic and to, Weston McKennie and to Weah, then we're great.
But why is Tim Ream still playing?
I don't know.
I don't get this. I don't understand it.
I think this is a failure by Pochettino.
I agree.
It could be.
Already early.
Yeah, I agree.
That could be.
I think, don't get me wrong. If we were playing maybe the World Cup tomorrow, maybe have him in the,
Right.
But we got to have our center.
It's a year away. He does not need to be in our future plans. Why is he starting? Why is Miles Robinson or somebody else not playing?
You got to see what the lineups are in the Gold Cup.
I don't need to see anything. I've seen enough already. Why is Tim Ream in the picture?
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
And not anything
But
against Tim Ream. I just think that
No,
he's
Tim-
not going
I-
to be a starter in the World Cup, so we got to move on.
Love me some Tim Ream. Fantastic.
Yes, love him.
In fact, if I could rewind 3 years and he'd be there at the World Cup, but he'd be maybe my favorite player. 5, yes. Well, even 3 years, right? Like I'm giving him the credit there.
Yeah.
Like
I'll give it.
he was so good 3-4 years ago
Yeah.
Yeah.
that man, he'd be my favorite player in the team probably.
I agree.
But not now.
And for a center back pairing to play together. I mean, that's what I mean. You have to figure this out.
Yep.
Get them playing
And
together.
how do you deal with a Gio Reyna at this point as a coach? That guy's still, I feel like, a little bit of a poison pill.
He is a little bit. But I would say, so the thing about Gio Reyna is, and even in this next World Cup, he's still so young. Right.
Yeah.
So even,
all of a sudden we blink and then you're like, he's not so young.
No, I
anymore.
get, but like even in this World Cup, like if he finds a club and he starts playing regularly and he plays well, you could bring him along as a guy off the bench, could do really well for you. But is he going to be a guy who's going to lead our line in the next World Cup? No. Yeah. But he's not old enough to do that anyway. How old is he?
22.
He's 22.
Yeah.
He's going to be 23 at the World Cup.
You know who's way better than him at 22 is Christian Pulisic.
Well, Pulisic at 22 was struggling.
No, he wasn't.
He good for the national team and struggling with the club, and people were like trying to.
He was at U.S. men's national team. He was
good.
Best player, dude.
Yeah, well, because the team sucked.
He was playing for Chelsea during the pandemic and banging in goals.
No, he was terrible.
He wasn't so great at Chelsea.
Yeah.
He wasn't so great.
And the thing
he at least started.
No
one was that great at Chelsea because they were a dumpster fire.
But the thing that
was coached by what's his doodle.
Tuchel.
Yeah, Tuchel.
The thing that turned the corner for Pulisic is he went from 23 to 26, and that's a huge difference, right?
Frontal lobe development.
Well, he's just stronger, more physical, like better prepared. You don't see many players gonna be the star of their national team at 23. I mean, there's the Messis and maybe Yamal, but like these are once in a generation players, right? But most of them, the players who are really, really good players that do really well, they're gonna do well in the World Cup when they're 28, 29.
I know. I have a lot of red flags with Gio Reyna.
Yeah, when you clearly immature.
Yeah, and when you have parents that are immature too, that's a bad sign, man.
But that doesn't mean he couldn't mature. He's 22.
Not buying his stock. Everybody loves buying that guy's stock. I'm selling.
Right now, you're selling.
Sell.
But right now
I'm selling.
And a year from now is going to be different, and 4 years from then it's going to be different.
He's getting no playing time.
I agree. If nothing changes, then he doesn't even make the squad.
Yeah.
Because we don't need it.
That's going to be a mean call from his parents.
Players.
I have seen nothing consistent from Gio Reyna that even puts him on the roster.
Right. Okay. If I were the coach, I would be like, I don't know. Are you getting better now? I don't know. Can't see you play. I can't even see you play on the television, right? I'm not even watching you.
It's not even on the
telly. If you don't get to a place where you're playing, you are not making the roster, period.
Yeah.
We are not. So once upon a time, we were so desperate. If we had a good player, even if they weren't playing at a good club, which was often true, they would still play for our national team. We are not that, particularly in attacking midfield. That's where our talent is, right? We got, Weah, and we've got Musa, and we've got Pulisic, and we've got a bunch of players.
Yeah.
Right?
Is Dest going to play for us during the World Cup?
He's back, and he's starting for BSV, and he's done pretty well.
Giddy up.
Okay.
I like Dest. I do not like Gio Reyna.
I mean, all the Americans.
Everybody's all over that guy. He's like, he's our best player. I'm like, they don't understand. I'm sorry. There's something wrong. I just am not sold on that guy with the way that he's being guided as a player. Like he should be gone from Dortmund.
Yeah.
Like a year ago.
Well,
whatever.
He tried. He went on loan in England, but he made a terrible decision there too.
Yeah.
He went to a side that was just hunkered in and was
bad
never
guidance.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Who is giving him guidance?
He needs to go to a team that's not a top 4 team in the league, a team that's got some prospects, an Everton, a Nottingham Forest this year, like a team that's got some prospects where you're going to be on the front foot a little bit.
You know where he should go? Is Wrexham.
Sure.
Oh.
Amazing.
Seriously.
That might
Reynolds, and then just launch them into the Premier League and come in storming.
Could be.
If you're saying he's young.
He's young enough to spend a year at Wrexham and kill it.
Be like, hey, I'll prove it. But that's the problem with a guy like that. He would never do that.
It's too ego.
He's too much of an egomaniac. And that's who Wrexham looks for. Is there is that kind of player out there that they try to figure out who will drop down a tier, who's hungry, and wants to prove themselves.
Got the heart.
And you know who it's not? It's not Gio Reyna.
Not Gio
I just am
Reyna.
saying I'm dreaming.
I agree.
Dreaming.
Not
But
Gio Reyna.
he would be a great
But what I was going to say is
star for that.
So,
show.
people said Americans can't do it in Europe. And I know it's the Eredivisie. I know you were just criticizing them or whatever. But all the Americans are on PSV and they've won the title 2 years in a row. With all the Americans starting, right? Pepe and Musa and Dest and Tillman, they're all starters there.
Okay. I like this. I like them playing together. That sounds good. I'll take that.
I mean, PSV, Ajax, who else is even
But if you're the top
competing?
team, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So the Eredivisie is lacking in terms of depth more than almost any other.
All the leagues are lacking except for the Premier League.
Yeah.
The only really, really deep.
Which, back to the MLS, let's give the MLS crap. Not as good as any of those leagues, but at least way more parity.
Deep. It's actually, not talent, like the level is not that high, but for the kind of teams they have, it's pretty deep.
It's the depth, like if you were to stack all the talent in the MLS to the top 4 teams, like think of it that way, right? Like if you put all the talent,
that's a good point.
The same way it is in La Liga. If you were to shift that all to the top 4,
it might be the same as one of those leagues.
It might be in the top 5
Yeah.
anyway.
It'd be a Bundesliga kind of league.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. That's a good point.
That's the difference of MLS, which people don't think about.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I think we've talked about it all.
Okay.
I think so.
Orlando, you're going down tomorrow night.
Yes, you are.
Carmen and I are going to be there. She gets to hear me scream when they go down.
Please let them play well so Mikey Dobbs doesn't lose his mind.
Suck it. Thanks for listening, everybody.
You say it? I do it, coach. Football is life.
No. There's a new episode of Ted Lasso dropping, I think, right?
New season.
New season.
They're making
Not
it.
episode. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
See, Mikey Dobbs, you started out so pessimistic.